Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the two scientific explanations or reasons behind why we continue to repeat negative thoughts in our mind and we continue to manifest negative things into our reality, even though we try so hard to think positive thoughts and manifest positive things like the dream career, the dream house, relationship, and all that good stuff. Now, everyone always says that you have to think positive things, you have to think positive thoughts if you want to manifest positivity into your life, but no one ever really teaches us how to do that. What is the process of removing negative thoughts from our minds? How do we remove negative thoughts in our subconscious? And how do we start to imprint and think positive ones instead? Now, according to the most recent study that came out of Canada, it turns out that the average person has about 6,200 thoughts per day. There were older studies from like the National Science Foundation that said we have about 80,000 thoughts per day. But the reason why there are these different views on the numbers has to do with how scientists define a thought. Like, is a thought a single word? Like YouTube, is that a thought, or is it an actual sentence? Like, I would like to watch a YouTube video right now, you know, so which one is a thought? Now, what most scientists and studies do agree on, however, is that 95% of our thoughts in the human brain are repetitive, which means we tend to repeat the same thoughts and cycles over and over again, day after day, kind of like copy pasting the same day over and over again. And 80% of our thoughts are actually negative. Another study that just came out from Harvard showed that about 47% of the day, half of our day, we spend not in the present moment. That means we're not present half the day. Our mind isn't there. It's not where our body is. It's not associating with the people or event or places around us. It's kind of stuck somewhere else in another dimension, either in the past, thinking about something negative that happened, or stuck in the future dimension, which hasn't happened yet and causes anxiety if you get stuck there too long. So a lot of the meditations, affirmations, and exercises we'll do on this channel will restore all of that and bring you into the present to increase that percentage so that you're spending more of your day, more of your time present. So if you're wondering why you can't stop thinking negative thoughts, or if people are calling you a negative person and you're trying so hard to be that positive, happy-go-lucky person that keeps attracting and manifesting positivity in your life, know that it is natural and that pretty much all humans are wired to be negative. And we're going to talk about now the biological or evolutionary psychological reason behind it before we dive into the quantum physics or law of attraction reason. But just to say that although all humans are wired to be negative thinkers for the most part, there is a certain percentage of the population, roughly about 20%, so like 1 out of 5, that tends to be overly negative, pessimistic, and suffers from paranoia, and tends to have actually higher rates of negativity manifesting in their lives than the rest of the population. There's a really great video on that on Netflix right now where scientists explain the reason behind it more in depth, and I will put the links down below. Okay, so let's dive in. The first reason or evolutionary psychobiological explanation for it is called cognitive bias and selective bias. So first, the cognitive bias actually evolved in a part of our brain over 3 million years of evolution throughout Homo erectus as we became modern humans, essentially to flush out or filter out all the millions and millions of bits of data that our brains are taking in on a daily basis, to filter out only the most important and valuable information that we needed in order to survive. And if this information was negative, it would actually help us better survive, because then we could kind of steer clear from anything that was dangerous. So the cognitive bias is just a feature that, or a template in our brain that evolved to make sure that we were always looking out for anything that could be dangerous, and that meant a lot of times missing out on all the goodness around us. And we'll talk about why 20% of the population has more of this than the rest. Because if you think about it, back when we were surviving in the wild and survival was pretty much our only goal, you know, manifesting the Ferrari or the house wasn't there yet, it didn't exist. Survival was our only goal in life and our mission. If we were walking around in a field, let's say, a beautiful field filled with flowers and sunshine, everything absolutely abundant, perfect and beautiful, and we kind of got lost in this and appreciated the beauty around us, if there happened to be like a lion somewhere in that field and we missed it, the chances of us surviving would be essentially zero if we get eaten by the lion, or like if you had a cub or a child with you that was eaten by the lion. So our brains evolved to be hyper alert and vigilant about picking out that one thing in that abundance of beauty and sunshine that might pose a danger to us, to ensure and increase our rates of survival. It sucks because our emotions, which is what we need in order to manifest positive things into our life, we need to feel and express the positive emotions associated with that. They're actually stored in the part of our brain called the amygdala. And according to studies, scientists have found that 67% of the neurons in the amygdala are constantly and consistently searching for bad news. This is actually why bad news and fake news, like on Facebook, social media, or news outlets, tends to travel faster, like 3 times faster than positive news or real news. Anything that's fake or bad will literally travel faster, magnify, and imprint more in people's minds. This is why we tend to just keep manifesting negativity all around us. It's because of this part of the brain that is on repeat and is constantly searching out negativity, even when everything around you is totally fine and everything's okay and we're actually doing really good. Same with selective bias. Both cognitive and selective bias tend to work on recording on our memories of our environments, people, places, and events around us. So if our environment, for example, is positive or neutral, our selective and cognitive bias templates in our brain will literally scout out and look for the one negative thing to imprint and remember. This is like the worst part pretty much of being human, is that even if you had a really good experience, let's say you had a trip or a concert or an event you went to, and for the most part 95% of the trip or the event was actually positive or neutral, nothing bad happened, if a single bad thing did happen, or one person said something negative to you, or one bad thing occurred to you, or you felt hurt, that would define the entire trip or event. You would then actually remember that as a very negative experience and associate the place, the people, everything with that memory as a negative one, even though the majority, 95% of the event or the memory was actually positive and or neutral. So if you're trying to be a positive person and express and manifest positivity into your life, this is what you're up against. You are literally going against your own brain and your own body in order to do this. This is why people that practice the law of attraction and positivity tend to meditate a lot and do yoga and breath work and these practices that actually remove the negativity over time and bring them into the present state. Okay, so why is it that 1 out of 5 people, or about 20% of the population, are extremely negative or paranoid and tend to manifest more negativity into their lives than others? So according to anthropology, or biological evolutionary theory, back during our hunter-gatherer days, when we were evolving as cavemen, cavewomen, as Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, we were traveling in groups of about 5, which makes sense because in psychology also today, studies show that the average person tends to have roughly about 5 friends, maybe 1 or 2 really close ones, 5 people that they think of as friends. And you'll see this a lot in TV shows, popular TV shows as well. They'll have a group of friends that are normally about 5. So 5 is a number that we feel very comfortable with because this is how we evolved. So each one of these 5 people or humans would have a characteristic that would help the group in ensuring and increasing our chances of survival, but also in manifesting positive things for the group. So maybe one person would be the creative type and would constantly be creating. The other person would be really good at gathering berries or gathering all the fruits and vegetables, nuts they needed to survive, or maybe learning different recipes and remembering those recipes to create medicine and food, right? The person that would eventually be the doctor of the team or the cook of the team. Like, think about the group of 5 traveling together that needed to survive together. One out of these 5 individuals evolved to have characteristics that are super paranoid and negative, because this would be the person that would essentially be like the security guard of the hunter-gatherer group. They would be the person that would constantly be on the lookout for danger, so that the other 4 could focus on their thing. You know, the doctor could focus on like gathering herbs to create medicine for everyone. The person that's in charge of gathering the nuts and food would gather all the right things and not accidentally gather poison. So everyone could focus on creating and manifesting what they needed to. This one individual would be in charge of probably staying up late at night, constantly looking out for danger and ensuring the survival and the safety of the group. Generally, it's really difficult for almost all people, the majority of the human population, to think positive thoughts and to manifest positivity into their lives. But it's even more difficult for this one person or this 20% of the population, because they're stuck in a very, very hyper intense mode of survival when everyone else is at rest, when everyone else is partying, drinking, or napping, or sleeping, or having, just living their best life or able to rest. These individuals are the ones that are just unable to rest. They are unable to sleep or enjoy the party, or maybe drink with everybody else, or do things that everybody else is doing, because they're constantly on that lookout. So this might be the person you go to a party with that's like on edge and looking for who might hurt you in the party, and you're like, relax, have a good time, and they're like, no, but something bad might happen, right? Because that was their job during the hunter-gatherer days. They were in charge. They're like the cosmic bodyguard. They were in charge of taking care of us and making sure that we were safe, so that the rest of us could really enjoy our lives and go on and do what we were meant to do. It's even more practice for these folks to try to remove these negative thoughts and start to think positive ones. So they need to focus even more on somatic activities and getting more rest and things like that. So in evolutionary theory, you want to make sure that you overestimate rather than underestimate something, meaning you want to overestimate the chances of danger being around you, so that you could be 100% sure of surviving, rather than underestimate the danger and say, no, we're good, nothing bad's gonna happen, and then have that like 1% of the time that there is danger and you might actually die or get eaten by the lion. So the overestimating of the danger actually raises the negativity and the anxiety levels of the individual that's constantly on the lookout now for danger and looking for things that could hurt the body, the mind, hurt the group, the collective. So they actually evolved over time to become more and more paranoid and more negative. Studies show that this 1% in the group, or this 20% of the population, not only do they have more illness, they become sick more often, they tend to actually manifest more negativity in their lives. They have higher rates of accidents, car accidents, bodily accidents. They have higher rates of just like chronic illnesses, and just bad things happening to them all the time that don't tend to happen to other people. And it's because of this. It's because they have evolved to focus on the negative. What do somatic activities like this, like yoga, meditation, breath work, what do they have to do with stopping negative thoughts and imprinting positive things into our brains? Is that, remember that our nervous system, our gut, heart, brain connection that puts us into survival mode and tells us that you need to be on alert and on a lookout, that part of our body, the nervous system, the vagus nerve that tells us to go into survival mode and be hyper alert and focused and raises our anxiety and cortisol levels, that gets reset when we do somatic activities like breath work and yoga and meditation. And a lot of like other exercises that I'm going to teach you on this channel. Those are the activities that really bring us out of survival mode and tells our brain and our body everything's okay. There's no snake or lion loose in the field. You can actually rest and relax now. You are totally safe. And that is the time during that relaxed state is when our minds can really release the negativity and start imprinting and thinking positive thoughts. So things like talk therapy, like talking to a therapist, can help with negative thoughts to a certain extent, but as long as you are not doing the physical part of it, the somatic activities, as long as your nervous system is consistently stuck in survival mode day after day, just talk therapy alone is actually not going to help, which is why so many people who have a therapist and go to talk cognitive therapy don't really see major results. They still suffer from depression and anxiety because their bodies, their nervous systems are still stuck in that mode. Whereas people who combine, let's say, therapy with yoga, meditation, and these other physical activities like qigong, tai chi, anything that's energy work that has to do with balancing and bringing our body and our nervous system back into balance and harmony, really work. Okay, so that was reason number one. That was the evolutionary explanation behind it. Now we're going to dive into the physics or the quantum physics, or what some people call the law of attraction side of the story. So according to physics or quantum physics, our thoughts and our emotions are literally energy in motion, right? That's what emotion means. It means energy in motion. So when we think of a thought or express an emotion vividly imagined that is repetitive, it actually sends out an energy out into the universe that is then amplified and magnified by the universe, and then through the boomerang effect, it's kind of sent back to us. So if you are focusing on, for example, debt or bills or things that you don't have, lack of money or lack of love or a relationship, your brain will catch that imprinted as fact, and then it will amplify it, because remember, our brain is trying to increase the chances of danger and things that could hurt us in order to keep us even more safe. And by doing this, it's putting out energy out there that is getting multiplied exponentially and coming back to us even more so than it already is. So the more we focus on the debt or the negativity or the danger, the more danger we will find ourselves in, the more debt we'll go into, the more negativity will just kind of multiply and multiply all around us. Even though that's not what we want, that's the negativity that we are focusing on because we want to remove it. We're just attracting more and more and more of it into our lives. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you like content like this, so I can keep creating more for you. So in the next several videos, we're going to have short exercises, meditations, about 5 minutes long, that are scientifically proven to help reduce anxiety, bring us out of survival mode, and really like stop the negative thoughts from getting stuck in that time loop to start transforming from the negative to the positive. Thanks everyone. Bye.